I hate to break it to you, but you are making it way more difficult than it needs to be to connect with your spirit guides, including your dragon. This one thing is keeping you stuck in your connection with the etheric realms. This one thing is blocking your psychic channel. And how do I know you're doing this one thing when I don't even really know you? Well, I'm psychic, obviously. But anyways, aside from that, I know this to be a fact because it's something we literally all do. Even I do this. Even though I've gotten much better over the years, I still do this from time to time. So in this video, we're gonna cover exactly what that is and how to stop so you can clear your psychic channel, start talking to your spirit guides, and boss on up to the next level in your psychic superpowers right the hell now. I'm sure at this point though, you're feeling quite like this might be a bit clickbaity and you're just like, just tell us the thing already, Hannah, right? I won't leave you hanging any longer. What's the thing? It's questioning your sanity. You feeling a bit called out? I'm definitely feeling a bit called out. We all do it, right? We all do it. Let me know in the comments if you do it. And from my experience of doing this for really, honestly, my entire freaking life, I can tell you this muddies your channel. It makes it harder to connect in with your higher self, harder to connect in with your spirit guides, including your dragon guide, and harder to just trust life and be in the flow and have a nice time. So let's just lay the fucking beat down to the sanity questioning today, shall we? So we're gonna go into 3 different ways to stop questioning your sanity and start trusting yourself so you can just be this psychic badass, okay? Number 1, honestly, is just knowing is half the battle. It's knowing about the history and the origins of the word crazy and just what exactly the concept of craziness is. Because let me tell you, friends, when you know this, it makes it so much easier to detach from it and not care if other people think that you're crazy and to not accept that even as a label any longer. So taking you back to the 1500s, that is the first time, at least recorded, that the word crazy was used. And it meant diseased or sickly, which is honestly not so far from the way we tend to use it when we're questioning our sanity, right? We think that we're diseased of the mind and sickly of the mind, right? And so naturally, this progressed in the 1600s. It turned out to mean unsound mind. So that was like the origin, like way back, that's where it started. But really, friends, really, this is where it gets a little juicy. Maybe people are gonna fight me on this. This is gonna start some flame wars, I don't know. But honestly, the way it is used most often these days and since the 19th century really is as a means of silencing women and silencing the neurodivergent. So we'll touch on the women thing first. Did you know that the word hysteria was actually used to mean a female mental disorder in the 19th century? It was specifically linked to females and the divine feminine by extension. And you can even see in the etymology, hysteria is linked to hysterectomy, removing the uterus, because it was believed that the uterus, in women only, in females only, is what caused the hysteria. So hysterectomy, you remove that uterus and you remove the hysteria. How disturbing is that? Am I right? And then we have another term that's used synonymously with crazy, lunacy, right? Lunacy refers to the moon, which is also associated with the divine feminine. And it refers to women again, because women, we have monthly menstrual cycles that are linked to the moon, lunacy. So if you were a lunatic, it's because, you were on your cycle and it was unpredictable, right? So I hope you're starting to see how these terms are quite problematic and they have a really icky past to them. And in addition, it's not just women that have been screwed over by these terms. It's also the neurodivergent, those whose minds differed from the norm. In my opinion, it doesn't mean that you're mentally ill or sick. It's just different from what is considered to be the standard, which is kind of what is keeping you stuck in the matrix. But that's a rant we'll get into. Basically, what this comes down to is that crazy is used as a way to keep women small and to keep neurodivergent people small. And why is this? Because there's honestly some deep fear associated with this lunacy, this hysteria, this craziness. The analogy I'm getting is that it's like real life X-Men. The way I see it is that craziness, neurodivergence is actually like linked with psychic superpowers, like really actually. People that are neurodivergent tend to have a stronger connection with the unseen realms. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a superpower, actually. It's really freaking cool. But just like the X-Men who have all these cool, really diverse superpowers, you know, the people are scared of them because those powers are unpredictable and those powers make the masses feel small. So it's the same with craziness, you know, women with their hysteria, neurodivergent people with their mental disease. It's unpredictable, so it's scary to those that are in power. It's scary, and they want to keep it suppressed because they don't know what it's really capable of. Maybe there isn't even necessarily like a bad agenda around this. It's just honestly that people are scared. They want us all to continue taking the blue pill and to remain to ourselves, to remain small and quiet and not talk about things that are a little off. So that being said, you are not crazy. And even if you fit the traditional like idea of what crazy is, which I think all of us think is like that homeless person that's on the street talking to themselves and they've completely lost touch with reality, right? Well, even those people are not crazy in the way that we've been brainwashed to believe. Those people, in my experience, are simply just tapping into other realities. Again, it's a superpower. When you're crazy, when you're talking to yourself, when you have, say, Alzheimer's, even dementia, and it just seems a little off. It's like they're like those people are like going through time talking to the deceased and stuff, right? They're really doing that. They're not making it up. That's really happening. These people are really just traveling to different realities, to different frequencies. But it freaks the rest of us out because we can't see those realities. We are not tapped into those realities. So it seems disturbing. So in my experience, I suppose what qualifies as unhealthy craziness or unhealthy mental disease or neurodivergence is when you are so dialed into the other realities that you're just not at all aware of this one. You're not integrating, because that's the purpose for, if you're watching this, if you're a person that has psychic tendencies, you identify as a light bringer, you're interested in the unseen, the esoteric, you came here to bridge the gap between the higher frequencies and the lower frequencies. You came here to integrate, you know, what you've learned as a starseed on other planets or as other kin, as different kinds of beings, right? And to bring that to humanity, bring that to this reality, to this 3D physical plane. And so when it becomes unhealthy and unhinged, and I think the crazy we're all referring to when we're like, oh God, I've gone crazy. I don't want to go crazy. I don't want to go off the deep end. It's that we become so far in these higher realms that we completely lose touch with this one. But don't worry, my friend, if you're watching this video, and honestly, if you are questioning your sanity, that's quite healthy, and that's a sign that you aren't, in fact, crazy. Leading us to number 2. External validation is another way to start moving through this. Once you've dismantled the brainwashing that's been implanted in us all to believe that crazy is this bad thing, that when you talk to spirits, you have imaginary friends, that it's not real. Once you start to dismantle that programming, you can start to build up a foundation of trusting yourself by getting validation. And I'll say it, maybe that's not what you were hoping to hear, because we're taught to believe maybe that you're not strong enough, right? If you're seeking external validation, that's a bad thing. And honestly, it's not. Anything in excess is bad, of course. If you're always seeking external validation and never trusting yourself, that can be dangerous. Anything in excess is dangerous like that. But I think personally that a little external validation can actually be healthy and exactly what you need to start being able to trust yourself without any external validation. Personally, that's why I am where I am today. I wouldn't have gotten to this point where I am trusting my channeling abilities and now using that to help people on a mass scale if it weren't for all the mentor figures I encountered along the way that validated. They're like, Hannah, you are a channel. You are not crazy. Like, this is real, and validating different things for me. I've had many different meetings with psychics and the like where they validate certain spirit guides that I have. They confirm, without me even telling them, they confirm that I've had like this spirit guide, for example. Or maybe I just had an intuitive hunch about something that I wasn't sure if I was making it up to make myself feel better or whatever. And then I speak with a coach or a psychic and they say that exact thing that I was already thinking without me having to tell them. If you want more specific examples of these, actually, this podcast episode just dropped where I go in depth, I believe about 40 minutes or so, about my life story, how I went from like this depressed, traumatized, suicidal, like little kid to the person I am today that is a total psychic boss, right? Like I trust my channeling. I'm out and proud about it. And I'm not afraid to seem a little crazy. I'm not afraid to share these unseen experiences that I've had. So if you're interested in getting a little more in-depth look into taking a magnifying glass to what this process looks like, you can use me as a case study. I will put a link in the descriptions below to that podcast episode. In order to facilitate this, I would say it's important for you to just get support on your journey. Like, so many of us feel like we have to do it alone, right? And especially, I can tell you again from experience, as you'll see in that story, if you check it out on the podcast, that a lot of times if you don't have money, you're just like, oh, I can't afford support right now. But I promise you can. Like, there are a lot of very affordable psychics and healers and stuff out there, and you can definitely scrounge together some money to at least meet with a person a single time and just have this completely life-changing experience. I promise. I've done it before. Even when I've been unemployed and unable to work, unable to bring in money, I found a way to make that happen. So I encourage working with a psychic or a coach such as myself. And if you resonate with me, you can definitely hit me up. Again, description below, I will put in a link to my website and you can work with me if you feel like I could validate you in some way. Also, therapists can be really good. You do have to be careful though, because some of them might make you actually feel worse about these things if they don't really understand spirituality and psychic ability and stuff, and they're just by the book therapists. So you want to be really careful about which therapist you trust, but some can be very understanding and supportive and validating of these things and these experiences. And if say you're a minor or funds really are just an issue right now and you can't get over that hump at this time, buddy system. I promise you can get some friend. I'm sure you've got some friend. If not, you can easily find one online. Go to the comments below probably, and you can find someone else that is also questioning their sanity regularly, and you can do a little buddy challenge. You guys can both be like, okay, for the next week, we're gonna get signs from our spirit guides. Like, we're gonna see sign 777, let's say, to show that we are on the right track in our lives. Is confirmation. We're going to see 777 like 3 times each over the next week. And then you guys can come back and talk about it a week later and compare results and see if you guys both saw it. It can be really validating, stuff like that. If you have any other ideas for ways to validate each other in fun challenges, again, let me know in the comments. Would love to hear it. Finally, number 3 is just experience. It's just, this is like internal validation is what it is. I can tell you, after I got the external validation that gave me enough of a boost to start putting myself and my services out there, it was still scary for a while. There was still like hardcore imposter syndrome. There's a part of me that was like, am I just making this up? Am I scamming people, right? Like, that's normal. That's a part of the journey, and I want to normalize that. But you just got to push through and get that experience, because eventually you will incur like enough experience to prove that you aren't just making it up. Like, when you start getting out there, you can start, if you don't feel comfortable like charging for services or anything, you can just start with friends, family, like the people around you, getting downloads, like doing tarot readings for them, for example, or something. And just the more you see how accurate it is, like every time, the more you'll start to trust yourself and your abilities. And the more you're like working with your guides, just like I said in the buddy system challenge, if you're just doing that on your own, the more you work with your guides, you ask for a sign, they give it to you, the easier it's going to be to trust that in the future. So it's just a matter of building up that experience, building up that trust, and knowing if you have experiences where it's like invalidated, don't let that stop you. Those can and will happen a lot. You just got to keep pushing through and gathering all that good experience, all that validating experience. And so finally, friends, the bonus I will leave you with for not questioning your sanity is actually my favorite mantra that I've made up, and I literally love it so much. I put it on a shirt, and I'm wearing the shirt right now. It's you know, if you can see it. If being crazy is this much fun, why would I ever want to be sane? So that's what I'll leave you with. Just think about it for a second. If being crazy is this much fun, why would I ever want to be sane? So you see the people that are taking the blue pill, right, in society. Are they happy? Most of the time, they don't seem like it to me. Is it cool? Like, is it fun? Does it make them happy to be right? Usually no. And usually when you are being crazy, it's because you are having fun. You're doing something that feels good and expansive. For example, like having an imaginary friend, having dragon guides and stuff. Doesn't that feel fun and cool? So wouldn't you rather, even if you are wrong about it in the end, who cares, right? As long as you're having a good time in the present moment, indulging that, it's not like harming you or anyone. What's the problem in embracing that? That's what I say. So if this resonated with you today and you would like to take your psychic superpowers to the next level, I'd encourage you to check out yet another description link below. This is to my What's Your Psychic Superpower quiz. So when you take this quiz, it'll tell you your dominant psychic clair ability. And then I will send you an exercise that you can do to start strengthening that clair ability, to start garnering that experience that proves to you that it really is real, and that you aren't just making it up, that you're not just crazy, right? I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know when you take the quiz what you get in the comments below. I'd love to hear what results you've gotten. I myself am the guru. I'm claircognizant as my dominant psychic ability. So until next time, my friends, stay powerful.